Happy Friday, y'all. We're here. So I wanted to talk about something. The pills. And I'm not talking about the type of pills you might be thinking about. I'm talking about blue pill, black pill, red pill, purple pill, white pill, whatever fucking pill, rainbow pill. All the pills, man. So here's the truth. I'm going to try to explain this and talk about it as quickly and as concisely as possible. Try not to go on a tangent, because this is hard to do. But I'm going to give you a bit of a background, alright? So, I grew up not insulated. Not like in an insular way, without people. I grew up with people, but I just was never a confident person. And starting off, you're gonna be having the blue pill with life, right? You're gonna be having that blue pill. And that's how everything usually starts. For me. And I'll tell you a quick story. In 4th grade, I had a crush on a girl. And, every single day, I think it was 4th and 5th grade, I would wait in the lobby in my grade school, and I would wait for her to come by so I would have a chance of speaking to her. But I never once had the confidence to speak to her. Not a single time did I ever actually muster up the courage when she came my way to say something to her. I never did. And then I think it was 5th grade. So after a while, I eventually asked this girl in my class, hey, can you ask this girl out for me? Or she asked me or whatever. And she asked her out on the bus going back home that day. And she said no. And that was the first time I ever got my fucking heart broken. That was the first time I ever did. And little did I know, that was going to be the first of many times that my feelings would be played with, that I would get fucked over, and things wouldn't go well. I'm not getting into my soapbox here. I refuse. And it's not because, you were a kid. Because stuff like that can really fuck you up. It can really hurt your self-esteem. But it's also because it affected me in my teen years. And then starting in my 20s too, it has continually affected me, and it's affected everybody. Relationship stuff and all this stuff, it affects everybody throughout their life. So it doesn't just go away, but things can get better. So I was blue pilled. Then I think that I kept taking L's, I kept taking rejections. There's a couple of other instances where I was kind of weird. I said some weird stuff, and then I was known as a weird guy. I also had a temper problem when I was younger, and that affected a lot of relationships and how people saw me. That really affected a lot of things. And I wish I could control my emotions like how I do now. Back then, things would be a lot easier for me. Alas, I was a child. But anyways, kept getting my heart broken, all this shit. And then I would also see other people being more successful with me, with dating, right? Like I would see my buddies, they would just pull. Like they would pull women, like a lot of different girls. And some of the girls that I wanted too. They would pull the girls that I wanted. And I always wondered how, what do they have that I don't? I would say that definitely, it didn't make sense to me for a while, but then deep down I knew, okay, they're a little bit more attractive to me. I kind of get that. And they're more they're just cooler than me. To an extent, they were just cooler than me, And I know that sounds kind of dumb, but genuinely, think about it, right? you're in like high school and middle school. Stuffy ass nose. You're in high school and middle school, and everybody's talking about popularity, and not popularity, but people are like subconsciously kind of thinking about who's the best at this, who's the best at that, or whatever. And you do compare yourself to your friends. And so time goes on. I think it was like junior year. I started watching more self-improvement videos. You know what? Maybe I can improve and get better. But it was hard. I saw my other friends, benching more than me, pulling more girls than me, being more athletic, just generally being more cool. And I was like, what the fuck? And then even on the self-improvement side, I see other people around me being more locked into me, being more focused, having this drive that I just didn't have. And I was just like, am I lazy? Am I a piece of shit? Like, I don't get what my problem is. Now, looking back, it was the fact that I have ADHD. And whether or not you think is real is up to interpretation. It may or may not be real. I don't know. I don't really care. Point being is that there was something in my brain that kind of made it challenging for me. And, it made me struggle compared to my peers. And, of course, everybody has their problems. And people are in a worse situation than me, for sure. A lot of people. I'm not going to sit here and, once again, get on my soapbox too much. Even though I did a little bit just there. But, yeah, I was red-pilled. But then I remember a while ago, I started, thinking more. And then I realized a lot of life is about how you look. And that's when that stupid fucking black pill came in. And by the way, all these terms are dumb and cringe, but they do make sense, And they're outdated, like, not outdated, but they're, like, kind of overused now and corny. Like, I haven't, like, it's funny because they're all blowing up now. But, like, I remember, like, 3 or 4 years ago hearing these terms and, like, thinking they were so special. But in all reality, they're just dumb and shit, and they don't always tell the full story anyways. So you can't take them that serious. But I was black-pilled. I saw some videos. I assumed, it was over for me. I was cooked. But the funny part is that I was pulling girls at this point. Not a lot, but I definitely had more experiences. But I still had a very depressed outlook on pretty much everything. And that absolutely fucking killed me, And, I kept comparing myself. I was like, what the fuck is, like, this isn't right with me, this isn't right with me, this isn't right with me. I was comparing all this dumb shit. And after a while, I've met my girlfriend 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, and we've been dating ever since. And essentially, to cut to the point, cut to the chase. Really, after all this time dealing with all of this bullshit, people playing with me, there are people who fucking would kiss me. They kissed me and they said they had feelings, and then they ghosted me the day after, and then it was like, what the fuck? And we had all these problems, and then I fucked somebody over. After all this bullshit, right? People blocking you for no reason and ghosting you and all this dumb shit. After all that, you look at it and you're just like, I don't really care. After a fucking while, you're just like, it doesn't matter. Not to say I'm not grateful for my girlfriend. I am. But to the same point, I literally, before I met my girlfriend, I literally was about to just be like, I don't fucking care anymore. I want to be done. And then, what do you know? She comes along and shit works out. This is not to say, I know that sounds generic. Like, everyone's like, oh, that's so generic. Like, and this isn't even really a video for advice. Like, I was talking to this kid earlier, and I literally told him, like, dude, like, I'm not, like, I wanted to give him advice, and he didn't even ask me. I just wanted to give him advice because, I wanted to help somebody in in a position that I feel like you could. Anyways, I wanted to help somebody. This is not a video for advice. All right? It's just to like talk about my experience with shit. And I'm telling you right now, all right? I'm not going to sit here and say things will automatically be perfect or they're going to get better right away. But you're going to have a lot more opportunities. And at the end of the day, it's like, think about it this way, right? Yeah, some of the more attractive guys, I mean, they're going to fucking come in and they're going to be like, oh, you know, getting all these girls doing all this shit. But guess what? All right? There's a lot of bullshit that comes with that. There's a lot of fucking bullshit that comes with that. I'm not even that attractive. Like, I'm like an average looking guy. I'm like, whatever. Even I experience the bullshit. And at a certain point, it's just not even worth it. So just remember, all right, a lot of that stuff, like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, it's 100% overrated, but there's more stress than you would think. So don't care too much about that bullshit. That's why I salute people who are still virgins and, you know, are waiting till marriage and all this stuff. It seems goofy, but a lot of the people, all right, who are just sort of, I use the word insular. They're insular and they're just kind of by themselves doing their own thing. They're some of the happiest people you ever see. So, like, there's no point in really making fun of them because they're just doing their own thing. So, at the end of the day, I mean, who's really winning here? The guy who's fucking all these hoes, doing all this crazy shit, but who's stressed out because he's dealing with all these girls, and then on top of that, he has other problems or whatever, whether work, school, family, whatever. You know, maybe he knocks one of them up. Like, there's all these problems that come with it that people just don't talk about. So, it doesn't really fucking matter at the end of the day. And, you know, material shit, all this material stuff, I mean, I'm not going to try to be too Buddhist on you, but, you know, at a certain point, you got to just, I don't want to say let go, but you have to just realize that you're going to live every single day, so why beat yourself up for not getting enough woman or not getting enough of this or not getting enough of that? All right. Gratitude goes a long way, but you can't force it. And that's another topic for another day. And with that, I say bye.